All right, so yeah, I had some questions about how to bulk prepare chicken on my Instagram. Now, I don't do anything special, so this is going to be nothing revolutionary. Expect some very basic stuff. But I've just come back from the butcher's and I've got here 5 kilos worth of chicken breast, £25, bargain. And so I'm going to show you how I prepare that, what I do especially. So first thing is I dice the chicken breast, and in my very lazy way of cooking, I just use some scissors, dead easy. So I'm going to dice it all up and I'm going to wash it afterwards. So dice it just like this, dead easy, chop it into a big bowl. Now, in terms of why I keep the recipes really basic, it's because I get through a lot, right? So this 5 kilo bag of chicken breast will probably last me, I don't know, I worked it out the other day how much I was eating. So probably eating about 600 grams of chicken a day at the moment. So what is that per, yeah, so over the course of about say 8 or 9 days, I'm getting through this 5 kilos. You know, the whole bodybuilder sort of meme of chicken breast and rice. It's a meme for a reason. Now, I don't know about you guys. I live a fairly bland kind of life where I don't have much time to build fancy recipes. So essentially, a lot of my meals are a protein source, a carb source, a vegetable source, and that's about it. So it's not like I need to have every meal to be this really fancy affair. You know, I don't need a gourmet dinner on like a Wednesday at 2 p.m. It just doesn't need to be like that. So just something like basic. So for me, a lot of that times is just meat and then some kind of carb source. I'm going to do another video on how I prep rice and potatoes, but basically it's real simple. I'll use either potatoes or rice. Now for rice, it's quite useful for high carb days. So a 400 gram portion of rice is about 500 calories, I think. This is cooked rice, and it's a lot of carbs. So probably something like 120 grams of carbs. So for a high day, that's ideal. You know, you can chow down a lot of food quite easily. Now, for most of my regular days, especially if I'm dieting, I'll just have mashed potatoes, which are dead easy to make. And I don't do anything special with those either. So it's like, I'll do mash, but it's not fancy mash with butter and cream and herbs and spices. It's literally just potatoes roughly mashed with probably some skim milk to help things settle. Quite boring really, but I'll show you how to do that on another day. My point is, most of my meals are just combinations of protein from some kind of lean source. I also bought a bunch of fish as well. So cod and haddock, it's like lean fish. So yeah, most of my meals are basically combinations of protein, which is like chicken breast, turkey, fish, stuff like that, alongside a carb source, which is normally rice or potatoes, and then vegetables. The vegetables I get are frozen veg, so it just makes it easier. So frozen veg, which means I can just microwave it on the day. Just lean stuff like Brussels sprouts, green beans, broccoli, usual, cauliflower, stuff like that. Peppers, sometimes peppers, but they don't microwave very well. It's just one less thing I have to prep. So I might be eating, you know, chicken breast and either potatoes or rice and vegetables like 4 or 5 times a day. So like, I don't need fancy stuff is kind of my point with this. So it's just really basic stuff. What I do is I'll end up cooking all of this, and then I'll freeze what I don't need, which will be most of it. So when I get it out of the freezer, it's in portions of like 500 grams. And so I'll just measure it out. And if I'm away for the day, I'll measure it out and I'll put it into a tupperware container. If I'm here, if I'm working, then I'll just measure it out per meal. It just makes it really easy. So anyway, I'm not going to bore you talking through all this. I'm going to cut up the rest of this chicken. I'm going to wash it and then I'll get back to you. All right, so that's about half of the 5 kilos, so about 2.5 kilos, and now we're going to marinate it. Remember what I said, we're keeping it simple. So this is my secret for a good tasting chicken. Firstly, 0% yogurt. Just bear with me, it gets good. So yogurt is the basis of the marinade. Just dump in about 250 grams, so like half of one of these tubs. Yogurt all goes in. Now on top of that, we're going to add in some of this. Now, I'm using this, which is a Tandoori marinade paste. You can basically use anything though. So you can use chili powder, you can use herbs, spices, whatever really, it doesn't really matter. Just something to go with the marinade to add some flavor. And the yogurt is fantastic because it gives it a lovely coating. I think this is great. Personally, go with something like this. Go with like a tandoori paste or a curry mix. If you go to any one of the kind of ethnic grocers, you'll be able to get a pre-made mix of chili spice, whatever. It's got a bunch of stuff in it like paprika, you know, all that stuff, right? So I just use this. It's basically a ready-made paste. Mixes in with the yogurt. The whole idea of keeping it simple. Dump in some of this. There we go, fairly liberal with that. And that's pretty much it. Now, the next step is just to mix it all up. I just use my hands. Just get stuck in with your hands. Mix it all up and go. Just easier. But anyway, you get all the marinade onto the chicken. And then ideally, you want to let that just marinate for a while, like maybe overnight or something along those lines. It depends how busy you are. Ideally, the overnight would be good. So what I tend to do is I put them into like plastic bags, put it overnight into the fridge, and then cook it the next morning. I might not do that today because I'm running low on chicken and I need some. So that is 2.5 kilos of chicken breast, all marinated. Looks nice. Well, it'll look nice when it's cooked, but it'll have a nice sort of red tint to things. So we'll call that there and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so in the interim, I wash my hands. Apologise to the cat because clearly I've wronged him by not giving him any chicken. And now I've got my baking tray. So I'm going to dump the chicken into the baking tray. Let's see how much I get in. This is 2.5 kilos. We'll see how much the baking tray can hold. But we're looking at a fairly thin layer of chicken just because it cooks evenly. Probably won't get it all in. All right, that's about right. So yeah, this normally makes about 3 baking trays worth, and I've got this fairly large baking tray here. So I'm just going to flatten that out so I get an even bunch of chicken. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, it's literally that easy. So that's going to go in the oven now normally for about half an hour. So the prep time is super low. You just need to have an afternoon where you're just perhaps working or you're doing some errands or chores around the house, or you're just hanging out watching TV, where you can do a bit of prep, dump it in the oven, check it every now and again, and just, you'll see the result in a moment anyway. So I'll call it there for this segment and we'll go back, I guess, when it's ready. So see you guys in a sec. Oh, and clearly I'll also do this for like multiple times. I'm going to end up doing this probably 2 or 3 more times just to get all the chicken cooked. But anyway, be right back. All right, and that's that. So I've just got out the first batch of chicken. I'll do the rest later. But it's all ready. So if we just bring this over here for you guys to have a look. That's what the chicken looks like right now. There you go. Okay. So that's that basically. So yeah, I did this just because I had a few questions that I wanted you guys to see how I prep chicken. It's super easy. Nothing particularly difficult or labor intensive, really quick, just something you can do around the house. So yeah, yogurt, loads of different spices. And I used chili spices. You can use whatever you like, just whatever you enjoy. Try barbecue if you want, herbs like Italian seasoning, just whatever, it doesn't really matter. I just find the yogurt marinade tends to give it a nice vehicle. But yeah, there you go, 5 kilos of chicken breast, all prepped and ready. For me, that'll last me about, I don't know, 8 or 9 days. If you're eating less chicken per day, it might last you 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But you know, I think it's an important skill to have. You should be able to cook a little bit. And this is very, very much a little bit of cooking. It's not anything fancy. It's not anything spectacular. It's just a basic chicken marinade recipe. So there you go. These are now going to go in Tupperware containers, which I'm going to freeze. I'm going to cook up the rest of the chicken. I've got about another 3 kilos there. And so I'll do that. But hopefully, guys, that was useful. Take care.